"Want to know a secret?" she whispered. "I wasn't ready for it." HFY read it. The station orbited Vera 9 like a silver eye in the dark. Its lights blinked gently, reflecting on the vast expanse of gas swirling below. Commander Elias Ward stood at the observation deck, hands pressed against the cold glass, watching the storms raging across the planet. The wind patterns on Vera 9 were mesmerizing from this height, violent yet strangely hypnotic, as if the world beneath him was alive, breathing. "Commander, the late shift is ending," a voice came over the intercom. Elias didn't respond immediately. His mind was elsewhere. The past few weeks had been long, filled with endless signals from deep space, strange frequencies that defied their standard analysis. No one had seen anything like them before, and yet here they were coming through the station's receivers, faint and unexplainable. "Elias," the voice repeated, softer this time, "Dr. Kane is asking for you in Lab 3. Dr. Lyra Kane, xenolinguist, cryptographer, and probably the most stubborn woman on the station, was waiting for him. He had worked with her for months, and though her brilliance was undeniable, she often crossed boundaries, delving into things most of the crew would avoid. When he entered Lab 3, Lyra was leaning over a console, her fingers dancing over the controls. A small holographic projection hovered above the panel, displaying a pattern that shifted in colors he couldn't name. "Commander," she said, her voice unusually soft, "I need you to see something in person. Come closer." Her whisper carried weight, a gravity that made the usual hum of the station fade into nothingness. "What?" he started, but she interrupted him. "Not yet," she said. She pulled something from the pocket of her jumpsuit, a small metallic device no bigger than a communicator. Its surface was smooth, but it pulsed with a soft blue light, almost like it had a heartbeat of its own. This came from the signal, from beyond. "We've speculated about the architects for years, but this is proof." Humanity had spent centuries searching for evidence, yet no one had ever found anything concrete. And now here it was in his hands, glowing softly like it had chosen him. Lyra leaned closer, her voice barely audible. "It's a map, Elias, not just any map, a star chart, but it's selective. It's like it knows who can see it and who can't, and it's giving us a choice." His training urged caution, yet curiosity gnawed at him. A choice to do what? He had always believed in humanity's place in the stars, but this was something else entirely, something that could change everything. Lyra's eyes searched his, seeking agreement. "I know it's dangerous. I know the unknown can destroy people, but the architects, if they're real, if they've left this for us, we can't ignore it." The light pulsed once, twice, almost as if it were breathing. "And you think we're ready?" Some stars glowed brighter, others dimmed, but all seemed purposeful. Elias studied the map, feeling a sense of wonder he hadn't experienced since he was a child, staring at the night sky on Earth. The stars in the projection didn't match any charts he had studied. They were beyond human-explored space, beyond the borders of known systems. And yet there was an intelligence here, a pattern that made sense if you could only read it. "What is it showing us?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's an invitation," Lyra said. "Or a test. I'm not sure yet, but it's real, and someone or something wants us to find them." Every story he had heard about the architects painted them as beings of immense knowledge, capable of shaping life itself. If this device was truly theirs, then humanity was standing at the threshold of something unimaginable. For days, Elias and Lyra worked tirelessly. They studied the signals, ran simulations, and debated the implications. The device responded to thought patterns, almost as if it could read their intentions. The more they understood, the more it revealed, yet there was always more, a puzzle that never fully resolved. Other crew members noticed the change in the command center. Elias was quieter, more thoughtful. Lyra seemed almost restless, her usual sharp humor replaced by a constant focus. Rumors began to circulate, but neither of them spoke openly. Some things were too dangerous to announce. Some secrets demanded patience. One night, Elia stood again at the observation deck, looking at the swirling storms of Vera 9. Lyra joined him silently, and for a moment they simply watched. The station hummed beneath them, alive in its own mechanical way, but the universe outside seemed far older, far wiser. "Do you ever think about what it means?" Elias asked. "If the architects are real, if they've been guiding or watching us, why now? Why give us this chance? Maybe they've been waiting for the right time. Or maybe we've been waiting for it without even knowing. We see where it leads, no matter what." As the station continued its orbit, the device pulsed in Lyra's pocket like a heartbeat, a constant reminder that some secrets were too powerful to ignore. Elias felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. He knew the path ahead would be dangerous, full of unknowns, but the chance to witness something greater than humanity, something that could shape the future of all life, was worth it. For the first time in his career, he felt truly alive, standing on the edge of a discovery that could redefine existence itself. And in that quiet, starlit moment, he realized that the universe was no longer something to explore. It was something to understand, something to earn. Lyra turned to him once more, her eyes serious. "Are you ready for this?" Instead, he looked back at the swirling storms, the distant stars, the infinite darkness that was both terrifying and beautiful. Finally, he nodded. "I wasn't ready before," he admitted softly. "But I am now." Commander Elias Ward sat in the pilot's chair of the horizon, staring at the navigation console as if willing the stars to reveal their secrets faster. The small scout ship hummed with life around him. Its engines pulsed softly, the artificial gravity holding them steady, while the ship prepared for a journey humanity had never attempted. "Doctor." Lyra Kane was beside him, her eyes constantly moving between the glowing device and the ship's displays. She had barely slept, yet her energy never faltered. Every few minutes she touched the device, as if asking it to reveal its secrets, and every few minutes it responded, pulsing brighter or shifting in color. It was alive in a way that no human technology had ever been. "Are you sure about this?" Elias finally asked. His voice was calm, but there was tension beneath it. "Once we leave the map systems, we have no support, no backup, if something goes wrong. The architects want us to find them. This is our chance." This was something far beyond human understanding, something that could reshape civilization itself. The crew began their final preparations. Sensors were calibrated, engines checked, and supplies loaded. The Horizon was designed for long missions, but even its advanced systems would be tested beyond limits in uncharted space. Elias made rounds through the ship, checking on each member of the team. Engineer Malik Torres was in the engine room, humming as he adjusted the ship's warp cores. "Everything's stable," he said without looking up. "But Commander, this map we're following, it's not like any chart I've seen. Some of these stars shouldn't even exist according to our data." He had to believe they could. Humanity had survived wars, diseases, and the cold emptiness of space. Surely they could face whatever lay ahead. Once the final systems check was complete, the Horizon disengaged from the station's docking clamps. The ship drifted for a moment in the black before the engines roared to life. Light bent around the hull as it accelerated toward the edge of human-explored space. The stars stretched into lines of color, and the crew felt a thrill of motion unlike anything they had ever experienced. Days passed, and the journey tested them in ways they hadn't anticipated. The signal from the device seemed to guide them, pulsing faintly whenever they were on the correct course. But the deeper they traveled, the stranger the universe became. Gravity waves bent space in ways that defied human mathematics, and cosmic storms crackled with energy that danced across the hull. One evening, as Elias monitored the ship systems, Lyra approached him silently. She looked tired, but there was a glow in her eyes. "It's reacting again," she whispered, touching the device. Elias looked up. The map had shifted. A new cluster of stars appeared, lines connecting them in patterns that seemed alive. The stars flickered, pulsing almost like a heartbeat. The crew gathered, staring at the projection. "It's communicating," Lyra said. "It's not just a map, it's showing us possibilities, paths we could take, outcomes we could create." Possibilities, outcomes. The device was no longer merely a guide, it was a teacher, a challenge, a mirror of their own minds. Every choice they made could change the path, and every hesitation could cost them dearly. The nights were the hardest. Sleep came in short, broken bursts, filled with dreams that felt more like memories than imagination. Elias dreamt of worlds he had never seen, cities built of light, and creatures whose shapes were impossible to describe. He woke gasping, unsure if the visions had been real or if the device had invaded his mind. Lyra's dreams were even stranger. She often woke with tears in her eyes, clutching the device as if it were a lifeline. Sometimes she spoke aloud, muttering alien words that none of the crew recognized. But each morning she returned to her work, determined, relentless. One morning, as they approached a nebula that glowed with green and purple hues, the ship's sensors picked up an anomaly. The gravitational readings were off the charts, and space itself seemed to ripple. Elias ordered the ship to slow down, and the crew watched in awe as the nebula seemed to bend light in impossible ways. "It's beautiful," Malik said quietly, "like the universe is alive." Not just the device, not just the map, but the universe itself as a test. Every star, every storm, every anomaly, it's meant to teach us, to challenge us, to see if we can understand. Days later, they encountered the first true challenge. A rift in space opened before them, blacker than the void itself, stretching like a wound in reality. The device pulsed violently, warning them to stop. Sensors flickered and alarms blared across the ship. Elias gripped the controls. "Brace yourselves, we don't know what's on the other side." The darkness seemed to pull at them, tugging at gravity, time, and even thoughts. The crew felt disoriented, as if their minds were no longer fully their own. And then, as suddenly as it appeared, the rift began to close. Lyra whispered, almost to herself, "It's a test. They're testing us." Every anomaly, every signal, every pulse from the device was a measure of their readiness. The architects had designed a path, but it wasn't merely about following directions. It was about understanding, adapting, and surviving with intelligence and compassion intact. The weeks passed, and the crew learned to work with the device, listening to its subtle cues, interpreting its signals, and learning its language. The journey became more than a mission, it became a lesson. Each star, each anomaly, each strange vision was a step toward understanding the architect's intentions. Then, one night, the device pulsed brighter than ever before. The holographic map expanded, revealing a single star system unlike any they had seen. The stars around it formed intricate patterns, almost like a doorway suspended in space. Elias felt a thrill of anticipation mixed with fear. "This is it," Lyra whispered. "The next step, the hidden system. No turning back now. We don't know what's ahead, but we have to go through." The very space seemed alive, responding to their presence. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's beautiful and it's alive." And humanity had stepped into a world far beyond their understanding. But even as awe filled their hearts, a quiet tension lingered. This hidden system was a trial, a test, and somewhere within its wonders and dangers, the true challenge awaited them. For the first time, Elias understood. The journey was not about reaching a place, it was about proving that humanity was ready. Ready to face the unknown, ready to learn, ready to grow. And somewhere deep inside, he felt a spark of hope, a belief that they could rise to the challenge. Lyra looked at him, eyes shining with excitement and fear. "Are we ready for what comes next?" "As ready as we'll ever be." The horizon moved carefully among them, its sensors struggling to interpret what they saw. Every glance outside the viewport brought awe, but also a quiet unease. Lyra stood beside Elias, her hands gripping the console. "This place is a trial," she whispered. "I can feel it. Every anomaly, every pulse, it's testing us, not our bodies, but our minds, our hearts." He had begun to sense the same thing. This wasn't merely a system to explore, it was a judgment of sorts. The architects had built this domain not as a home, but as a test, and it was alive. Their first challenge came in the form of a strange planet that orbited at impossible angles, spinning horizontally as if the universe itself had bent it on a whim. The sensors showed it was habitable, yet the readings were inconsistent. Gravity fluctuated unpredictably, and the atmosphere emitted a low-frequency vibration that seemed to resonate with the crew's own nervous systems. "Prepare for landing," Elias ordered cautiously. The horizon descended through the alien sky. Clouds shimmered with silver and violet light, swirling unnaturally. The ship's hull strained against the shifting gravity, but Malik's engineering kept the engine steady. As the crew stepped onto the planet's surface, they were met with a sight that stole their breath. Flora and fauna existed in ways that contradicted every Earth-based logic. Trees floated inches above the ground, roots curling through the air. Flowers glowed with their own internal light. Creatures moved in and out of visibility, sometimes appearing as solid forms, other times dissolving into streams of energy. Lyra bent down, touching the ground carefully. "The energy here, it's conscious. It's aware of us. It responds to our thoughts." They were no longer explorers. They were participants in a living system, guests in a domain built to challenge every assumption about life and intelligence. The first vision struck him at night. Sleep had become a perilous venture. The system seemed to influence dreams, shaping them into experiences that felt real. Elias found himself standing in a ruined city, its buildings made of light, flickering in and out of existence. Voices echoed around him, speaking in alien tones, yet he understood every word. They told stories of civilizations rising and falling, of choices made and unmade, of the power of knowledge and the consequences of ignorance. He woke with a start, the horizon gently rocking as if the planet itself had sensed his turmoil. Lyra was awake too, staring at the device, her face pale. "They are teaching us," she said softly, "or maybe judging us. Every fear, every desire, every decision we've made, it's all part of this trial." Malik, the engineer, saw worlds where technology ran unchecked, leading to destruction and despair. Every attempt to save those civilizations failed unless he applied empathy, understanding, and careful reasoning. Even the youngest crew member, a biologist named Tessa, confronted images of herself making choices that affected the lives of countless creatures. She realized that knowledge alone was not enough. Compassion and responsibility were equally important. Elias and Lyra led the crew through the trials, helping them interpret the visions, ensuring that fear did not overwhelm them. The system seemed to respond to their unity. When they cooperated, paths opened. When doubts arose, obstacles appeared. One evening, as they gathered around a glowing stream of energy that ran through the planet like a river, Elias had a revelation. "The architects aren't just testing intelligence," he said. "They're testing humanity itself, our ability to work together, to understand and respect life, to make choices that balance curiosity with wisdom. It's a moral test as much as a physical one, and we're being watched, perhaps by the system, perhaps by the architects themselves." As the crew approached, the structure projected visions of possible futures, some glorious, some catastrophic. Each vision was vivid, immersive, and emotionally taxing. Elias felt himself drawn into one, seeing a future where humanity spread across the stars peacefully, using the knowledge of the architects to benefit all. Yet the vision shifted, showing worlds consumed by war, greed, and recklessness. The contrast was staggering, and he realized that the difference lay in the choices humanity would make. Lyra was similarly ensnared, witnessing civilizations rising and falling based on empathy and understanding, or lack thereof. The device pulsed in her hands, almost like encouragement, guiding her through the maze of possibilities. "It's not just knowledge they are giving us," she whispered. "It's wisdom. But wisdom comes at a cost. The understanding that every action matters, that we are responsible not just for ourselves, but for everything we touch. It became clear that brute force or technical skill alone would not be enough. They had to grow as a team, as humans. Then came the final trial. A massive energy storm swept across the planet, seemingly alive, twisting the landscape, rearranging the crystalline structures, and creating pathways that vanished as quickly as they appeared. The crew was forced to navigate by instinct, intuition, and trust in each other. Elias guided them with calm determination, while Lyra translated the subtle pulses from the device into actionable guidance. Malik and Tessa worked in tandem, adjusting the ship and analyzing the environment in real time. Each obstacle tested their ability to think, react, and cooperate under pressure. At the heart of the storm, they encountered a structure unlike any other. It was a sphere of light, suspended above the ground, radiating warmth and intelligence. The device pulsed violently as if urging them forward. Elias realized this was the final point of the trial, the culmination of every lesson they had learned. They approached the sphere cautiously. As they did, it projected a vision into their minds, not of possible futures, but of their own selves. They saw their fears, their doubts, their failures, and their strengths. Each crew member faced their personal truths, the sphere showing them both what they had done and what they could become. Elias saw himself as a leader, but also as a man who doubted, who feared failure. Lyra saw her brilliance, but also her relentless drive that sometimes alienated others. Malik and Tessa saw their own limitations and potential. "It's showing us everything," Elias said, voice trembling. "Our choices, our responsibilities, our potential. And it's forgiving us if we are willing to learn," she said softly. "This is the architect's way. They don't just judge, they guide. They test, but they also teach." Slowly the sphere began to dissolve, leaving behind a calm, radiant field that seemed to embrace them. Elias took a deep breath. "We did it," he said. "We've passed their trial, but this is only the beginning. Humanity is ready for the next step." They had faced trials that challenged their minds, hearts, and souls. They had confronted visions of fear, loss, and glory, and they had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united. As the horizon lifted off, Elias looked out at the strange system one last time. The planets, the streams of light, the crystalline structures, they were no longer threats. They were teachers, guides, and guardians of the knowledge humanity had been entrusted to receive. Lyra stood beside him, the device pulsing softly in her hands. "The architects left this for us," she said. "Not just the system, not just the device, but everything we've seen. And now it's up to us to return, to share, and to use this knowledge wisely." He knew the journey home would be just as important as the journey here. Humanity had been given a choice, and they had proven themselves capable of understanding it. But the true challenge would be applying what they had learned, not just surviving, but guiding the future with wisdom and care. For the first time, he felt a deep pride, not just in himself, not just in Lyra, but in humanity as a whole. They had been tested and they had risen. They had shown courage, intelligence, compassion, and unity. And somewhere beyond the reach of human perception, he felt certain that the architects had watched, satisfied. The horizon prepared to leave the system, carrying not just a crew, but the hopes, dreams, and potential of all humanity. They had passed the trial, but they knew that the universe would always hold more mysteries, more challenges, more lessons. And they were ready. Together, they moved forward into the infinite expanse, hearts steady, minds alert, and spirits filled with the promise of what humanity could achieve. The horizon moved slowly through the strange light of the hidden system, leaving behind the crystalline structures and energy streams that had tested them so profoundly. Elias sat in the pilot's chair, staring at the stars as the system slowly receded behind them. Every crew member was quiet, each lost in thought, processing the immense experiences they had faced. Lyra stood beside him, holding the device, now pulsing gently in a calm rhythm. "It's over," she whispered. "We've passed their test." But what comes next, that is up to us. Stars seemed sharper, more vibrant, as if the cosmos itself had opened a window into new understanding. The crew could feel a subtle energy permeating the ship, a quiet reminder that they had been touched by something far greater than themselves. "Commander," Malik said from the engineering bay, his voice hesitant. "The systems are reading stable, but there's something else. Something I can't explain. The ship, it feels different, alive almost, like it knows what we've done. That's why they tested us, to see if humanity can handle this responsibility." It pulsed in response, brighter now, as if approving her words. She looked at Elias. "Do you realize what we have? We've been entrusted with the knowledge of the architects, the technology, the wisdom, the understanding of life itself, and it's ours to protect and use responsibly. The station, Earth, the whole human network, they need to know. Humanity needs to understand what's possible, but at the same time we have to be careful. This is powerful. Misused, it could destroy more than it could create." The device continued to guide them, highlighting insights, showing patterns, and even correcting their understanding when they made mistakes. It was as if the architects themselves were mentoring them, ensuring that humanity would not falter in their newfound responsibility. One night, Elias sat alone in the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly, but something felt different. There was an order, a rhythm, a harmony he had never noticed before. He thought about the visions he had faced, the choices he had seen, and the understanding he had gained. For the first time, he felt that humanity was truly ready to take its place in the universe, not as conquerors, but as caretakers, explorers, and students of the cosmos. Lyra joined him silently, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Do you feel it too?" she asked. "The universe, it's alive, not just the architect's system, but all of it, and now it seems to acknowledge us. We've passed the first test, but this is only the beginning." They trained together, discussed the visions in detail, and prepared for the inevitable questions and decisions they would face upon returning to human civilization. As Earth's blue light grew on the horizon, Elias felt a mixture of relief and anticipation. Humanity had survived trials before, but none had been like this. None had challenged their morality, intellect, and spirit simultaneously. And yet he was confident. Humanity had the potential to rise, to embrace the wisdom they had gained, and to use it for good. When the Horizon docked at the orbital station near Earth, the crew was greeted with both curiosity and suspicion. Messages had been sent ahead, warning of their return with unknown data, but no one could fully comprehend what awaited them. Elias stepped forward, addressing the station command. "We have returned with knowledge and guidance from a civilization far beyond our own. What we bring is not just technology, but understanding, and it comes with responsibility. We must use it wisely, to guide our future, to care for life, and to explore the universe without greed or fear." Over the following weeks, the knowledge gained from the hidden system transformed human understanding. Advanced energy systems, safe interstellar travel methods, and insights into life and ecosystems revolutionized science. But more importantly, humanity began to think differently. Decisions were measured with caution, cooperation became central to exploration, and the mistakes of the past were remembered as lessons. Elias and Lyra worked closely with the United Earth Council, ensuring that the architects' teachings were implemented wisely. They trained others to interpret the visions, to use the device responsibly, and to prepare for the challenges humanity would inevitably face in the broader galaxy. One evening, as Elias stood at the observation deck of the Earth orbital station, looking at the familiar blue planet below, he felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Humanity had faced a trial not of strength, but of wisdom and morality, and they had passed. The future was uncertain, as it always had been, but now there was hope, a path illuminated by the guidance of those who had come before. Lyra joined him silently. "Do you ever think about the architects?" she asked softly. "Why they chose us, why now?" Humanity has always reached for the stars, but now they've given us a reason to reach higher, not just to explore, but to understand, to care, to grow. We've been given a chance to shape our destiny, to be more than we ever imagined, and I believe we will. They were meant to challenge humanity to rise above fear, greed, and doubt, to embrace the potential within themselves and the universe around them. In the days that followed, humanity began a new chapter. Colonies expanded with care, interstellar exploration grew guided by wisdom, and the lessons of the hidden system remained a guiding light. The Horizon crew became teachers, leaders, and guardians, passing on the knowledge and understanding they had earned. And somewhere in the vast expanse of the galaxy, the architects watched, not with judgment but with quiet hope. Humanity had proven capable of growth, of learning, of rising to the challenge of the universe. They had faced the trial, embraced the wisdom, and returned ready to carry the torch of knowledge forward. Elias stood once more at the observation deck, feeling the gentle pull of Earth below and the infinite cosmos beyond. He thought of the trials, the visions, and the lessons learned. He thought of Lyra, of Malik, of Tessa, and of every soul who had faced the unknown with courage and unity. The future was vast, uncertain, and full of challenges, but for the first time humanity faced it not with fear, but with understanding, purpose, and hope. Lyra whispered one final time, her voice carrying softly in the quiet observation deck. Some secrets are meant to awaken us, not to frighten us. Humanity had been awakened, and the stars awaited them. The journey was over, but the story of humanity's rise among the stars had only just begun.